Hey, it's been a while. I know that I'm getting old. About half a year ago, I turned 25. My hairline is receding. I'm probably losing a shit ton of hair. My back is aching. Just everything. I'm starting to enjoy daytime television. I know that I tend to spend way too long in the bathroom, but you know, it's just, here in Norway, we have like heated floors in the bathrooms and shit. So my feet get like nice and toasty and they're just, you know, it's nice, okay? I know that heated floors aren't normal everywhere else in the world, but Norway gets to like minus 40 degrees Celsius during the winter. So we have to have that shit. But do you know what they do have everywhere that isn't heated floors? That's a really bad segue. I have no idea what kind of stairs you have in your house. If it's wooden stairs or stone stairs or metal stairs or fucking fruit stairs or fucking, I don't know, fruits made, but one thing that all stairs have in common is that they tend to lead somewhere. They normally have a destination. I'm just starting to realize how dumb this sounds. I have a point. I promise. I have a point. Normally, stairs will lead to either like a bedroom or a bathroom or like, I don't know, even some people just have like a kitchen at the top of their stairs, which is, you know, fine. I'm not here to judge your stairs or whatever. I mean, I come from a place with many stairs. Please, sir. My God, can you tell I've been away from YouTube for a while? Jeez. See, stairs are actually pretty important. Have you ever been sat in your own bedroom just minding your own business when suddenly a demon from hell screams from downstairs that dinner is ready? Because I have, and I went down those stairs and I was really excited because I knew at the bottom of the stairs there would be fucking mom spaghetti and everything, and it would just be great. It would be awesome. Just imagine a big joke about stairs, because that's what this video is about. It's about stairs and stuff, but I will get to that later. I'm going to stop teasing all of you now. Let's get into it. Everyone who has ever discussed games with me knows that I have a heart boner for the Legend of Zelda series. It's difficult to explain why, but I think that when I got to play The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker for the first time when I was 10, the overwhelming feeling of excitement for exploration and adventure in that game resonated with something in me. It reminded me of summer spent at my family's cabin, which is in the middle of fucking nowhere in a classic horror slasher movie from the 80s setting, and the weird excitement you get from a forest made me want to explore and go on walks around the forest a whole lot. It's the sort of feeling you get when something is special, and that game made me feel that way. There's just something about this boy's courage who knows no boundaries, and this kingdom full of weird-ass whack people and monsters that just speaks to you. There's definitely something to be said about the feeling you get from being a hero in a video game and wanting to make the world a better place, like Wind Waker. It does something to you, and I'm pretty sure experiences like that leaves traces on a young, impressionable mind. I don't think that any other game could have hit me better at that time in my life. I didn't really think much of the Legend of Zelda series from what I'd seen, because this was my first game in the series, and it changed a whole lot for me. Hold on, are you saying that you didn't play my favorite childhood game, ranked greatest video game of all time by numerous publications, and winner of a bunch of other awards, Ocarina of Time, first? I didn't play Ocarina of Time first. I hear your angry fingers being ready to type very angrily at me. But listen, man, crack those knuckles and spend that newfound loosey-goosey feeling in your fingers on writing an essay on why you love that game so much, because I'm not against you over here. Ocarina of Time is a great game in its own way. It revolutionized a whole bunch of things in the world of 3D gaming, but I honestly think that if I played Ocarina of Time first, I wouldn't have fallen in love with the series the way that I did. It's not my favorite Zelda game, but it's not my least favorite either. But that discussion will be for another day, because I'm here to tell you about the part of the game that terrified me as a kid. The final boss and battle of the game. There's a big fat spoiler alert on this fucking video if you didn't notice, because I mean, obviously, I can't talk about the end of the game without spoiling the end of the game. So, are we good now? I'm not here to gush about how awesome Link is and the mechanics or the whatever, even though it is pretty cool that you're wailing at stuff with a sword infused with power to seal away darkness. I'm here to tell you what makes this fight so great in particular, and why it works as well as it does. The intensity of this fight is pretty intense. I mean, man, at times it had me fully clenched. My butt abs have never had as hard of a workout as they did from this game, and it's a perfect example of what Nintendo does best, which is to make a lot of stuff out of almost no stuff. So are you ready to hear why this fight is so goddamn good? It's nothing really special. You're literally just hitting the ball back and forth with a guy like it's some sort of tennis match with some Swedish dude in way too tight shorts trying to prove to you that he's superior. Just that the dude in the white shorts is fucking Ganondorf and not Bjorn Bjorgerson or whatever the fuck his name is. It's the weakest fight in the game, and the way he turns into a pig at the end is just stretching out the game in the cheapest way possible. Final forms are bullshit, dude. Just like the Zelda timeline or what. See, I've had this conversation about 100 times. It seems everywhere I turn, people kind of don't really like the final fight that much. It's literally my favorite part of the game. So listen, if you're still with me, hear me out. Trust me, I think you'll like what I'm about to say. Do you remember what I said at the start of the video? What I said about a certain thing? You know that joke at the start of the video that seemed a little bit forced and out of place or whatever when I started? God damn it, Toff. You haven't even filmed that part yet. Do you remember what I said about stairs? The whole thing about them creating a sort of anticipation and stuff? Well, that's kind of what makes this entire fight. Because of the atmosphere the stairs build before you get to the fight. The atmosphere is key here. So let's take a little closer look at all of this. So you know my man Goofydorf, right? The guy you're fighting? The game is very damn clever about how it presents my man throughout the entire game. Just think about it. When you played Ocarina of Time, exactly how much did you know about him? Just I'll wait. Just tell me when you're ready though, because I got like fucking chicken nuggets in the oven and I actually have chicken nuggets in the oven right now. See, you won't though, because you don't really see him a whole lot through the entire game, which is genius! He only appears about 3 to 4 times, but the entire character depends on this one part in particular. But to explain this, let's dive into some sweet ass context first. The game pretty much starts out with showing us a nightmare that Link is having, about Ganondorf riding off on a scary fucking horse with Princess Zelda on the back. When Link wakes up and shakes the sleep gunk out of his eyes, he has no idea what the dream meant, so he shrugs it off and moves on with his daily shit until the big ass Deku that, by the way, has a huge mustache, tells you that he was cursed by a man from the desert and that he's dying. Naturally, you can only imagine what goes through Link's little head. But for you as a player, the first thing you think of is the nightmare that Link was having at the start of the game. And then the Deku Tree tells you that you have to meet with Princess Zelda and tell her about the man. And you decide to do so at the Deku Tree's dying wish. And I'm telling you, this is pretty major stuff. Link isn't the coolest kid in class. First of all, the Kokiri are folk that stays childlike their entire lives. Imagine not being able to buy alcohol or literally anything your entire life, and in comes Link drunkenly just asking everyone if they want to see a shitty magic trick from some sort of kit he bought at a local fair for like $5 this summer. No one is fucking interested in your tricks, Sebastian! Link's age or size isn't what's the most different about him though. What really sets him apart from the rest of the Kokoro Bangaloka Doka is that they all have a fairy, but he doesn't. Can you imagine what Link is feeling, being the only drunk kid in town with no fairy, a bunch of nightmares, only one good friend, and constantly dreaming of something different, somewhere else, something bigger than himself? Suddenly, I can't say the word. Suddenly, Link seems extremely relatable, and you realize that Link is feeling something a lot of people struggle with throughout their lives from an early age. Loneliness. Loneliness is a very common feeling, and everyone feels it at some point or another. They gave Link a lot of character in those first moments of the game, which is a whole different chapter in itself. Considering Link is a completely silent character with barely any backstory, and just a few ha and hiya, they made a character without any personality relatable. How does Nintendo do it? How does Nintendo do it? But things are looking up for our boy. Link is suddenly woken up by a very annoying fairy telling him to put on pants. He buys a suit, he gets a job, and suddenly he's talking to the corporate Deku Tree. And then what happens? He gets his own fairy. And suddenly, he fits in with everyone else despite his fairy being the actual worst. And not only that, he's chosen to go on an important mission by the Deku Tree after entering him and getting a crystal from his inside. I'm sorry. I'm 5 years old. I'm sorry. And now that we've established how Nintendo makes you relate to a character in the very first part of the game, it's time to talk about Ganondorf. fast forward to Hyrule Castle. You solid snake your way around the guards until you reach this little garden where you meet Princess Zelda that, weirdly enough, doesn't really seem bothered by the fact that you snuck into her castle. Zelda tells you about this man with the evil eyes, and this is where you as a player remember, wait, wasn't there a green dude in that nightmare at the start of the game? And wasn't there a man from the desert that was bad? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where you start to get real bad vibes from this dude. Everyone keeps talking about him and all the bad shit he does, and that's where the real bad aura around Ganon starts to create an atmosphere in this game. It's a strange feeling, but you start feeling a little bit uneasy about this colorful, bright game with kids everywhere and funny music because something underneath the surface of this game is just not right. As you keep hanging out with Zelda, you join her in spying through the window and boom, this man that you've never met and only previously seen in your dreams is right there in front of you, and you recognize him from your dream instantly. As previously mentioned, Ganondorf doesn't really appear that often in the game. He's mostly talked about, and you hear about how shitty he is from Zelda and the sages throughout the entire game, and even the Gerudos, a village of thieves, saying that he's bad news bears. Can you still use that term in 2020? But what really nails it down is that Zelda says that she doesn't trust him. Zelda seems to be roughly the same age as you, and when someone else your age says something, you fucking listen because that's how you know you're not just being an idiot. Just as Zelda tells you about him and that she doesn't trust him, Ganondorf calmly turns his head a little bit and looks directly at you through the window, as if he knew you were there the entire time. His expression doesn't even change as he looks at you, and even though this moment only lasts for a second, it's a very ominous moment that creates a very unsettling feeling for you as a player. After this, you don't see Ganondorf for a while. Link goes back to talking to Zelda, who then introduces you to Impa, and what is Ganondorf doing now? Did he have a reaction off screen? Did he finish the ceremony he was in the middle of? What happened? This part is so important because it introduces Ganondorf to you in a way that tells you straight up that, yo, this dude is an absolute fucking douchebag and that you shouldn't trust him. And it's such a great introduction to a character in a game without actually doing anything. I'm pretty sure that it's like 6 frames of animation where you instantly decide that Ganondorf is an asshole. At least that's what it seems like they wanted you to feel. Nintendo wants you to get an unsettling feeling from Ganondorf. If he didn't look to the side, he would just be a green dude with ginger hair looking at something off screen, because that wouldn't really do much other than show you the character. It wouldn't give him any sort of depth. A little bit later in the game, you're just hanging out in the Temple of Time when suddenly Sheik appears and reveals the shocking truth that she's actually Princess Zelda. And then suddenly, bam! There's a loud noise and Zelda is suddenly stuck in a damn crystal before some ominous text appears on the screen. So, yo, what the fuck? Ganondorf came out of nowhere? Still, he's not even on screen and you don't see the man, but you see what he has done. And this time it's kind of personal. So you go after him and you're pretty pissed off. Things were looking up for you. And suddenly this asshole hits you with some bullshit that he came up with at 3 a.m. in a 7-Eleven parking lot. You're not going to take that because you've already had to deal with everyone else's bullshit because everyone in this goddamn universe are useless and can't do anything themselves. So you get really pissed off and you go after him, which is what leads you to what this entire video is actually about. It's been a long journey to get there, just like in the game, dude. You go to Ganondorf's flaming castle of death, and you hear these creepy-ass piano notes giving you the vibe that this probably isn't a good place to be, and you realize that you have to take on 6 trials that represent the different temples and dungeons you've just fought through your way through for so many hours, just to open the barrier that's between you and the massive stairs that leads to the top of the tower. And when you've done all that, you enter the big scary door in the middle of the room, and here it is, my guys, the stairs. See, this part of the game is genius for a number of reasons, but most of all, the game uses the stairs as a form of build-up to the final boss, and the way it does it is genius, but very, very simple. The thing is, when you walk through the door and you start climbing the stairs, you hear this faint, sinister, creepy organ music playing. The music in the game is always at a constant, comfortable volume, so when the volume just drops and you can only faintly hear it, it makes things a little bit unsettling. Not only that, but organs are pretty creepy to begin with. Even here in tiny little Norway, there are stories of organs in churches starting to play by themselves at midnight or around witching hours with no one to be seen. Some of the most dramatic music created through the years uses organs to make everything more intense. Not only is the low volume unsettling, but when you start walking up the stairs, you start to notice that the music gets louder and louder the further you ascend. So you know something's coming at the top of the stairs. You as a player who has just been through countless fights, dungeons, temples, and even hung out with fucking fish people and countless other things, you know that this is the final fight with a phantom man that you still don't know very much about. You're about to fight a man that enslaved the entire country, and you know that this fight is going to be a massive one. It's just, it's so good. And not only that, when you finally do get to the top of the stairs after having had your eardrums blown out from the loud fucking speakers on your tiny ass little TV, Ganondorf has just sat there playing the damn organ you've been hearing this entire time, like it was the most natural thing in the world. This whole section with the stairs create a very intense feeling of pressure that you can't fuck this up. You feel so ready and full of adrenaline to fight this bastard that you can barely wait to just get to it. This section had to be designed this way, and it makes so much sense as well. Shigeru Miyamoto even wanted all of Ocarina of Time to happen inside of Ganon's castle at an early stage, with the idea that you would use it as some sort of hub to access all the different dungeons. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it, and it's really cool to see how he managed to implement that with the 6 trials before you ascend the castle. After such a long adventure, you have to build up suspense before letting you attack this all-evil dude at the top of the tower, and they made him seem extra evil with just music, which is a major part of the game to begin with. The fight itself isn't much to brag about, it just feels very intense because of the setting and the atmosphere of the scene. When you finally beat Ganondorf, you're faced with the stress to get out of the castle in time before you and Zelda go down with it. And when you're finally out, Ganon returns in pig form. Yeah, it's a second form sort of deal. And this just makes you even more angry because you're probably sick of his stupid tennis playing face. And suddenly your master sword starts glowing and stuff, and when you eventually stab that sword into his head, all the sound stops for a moment. Complete silence. This dude that has been plaguing the land is now about to die. Then Zelda calls for the 6 sages and they tell Ganon to go away or something. And you know that it is over because Ganon is cursing you and your descendants, effectively making a 3-way split in a timeline and a whole lot of angry fans. Oh yeah, and Breath of the Wild is also a cool and good game. Play that too, but just do it. Hey, what's up? My name is Toff, and it's been a while. For those of you that don't know, I used to make YouTube videos just in Norwegian. They used to be like reviews or long-form video essays about video games, and this video that you just watched is actually a rewrite of an article that I wrote a couple of years ago. That the link is actually down below to it. And I was trying to write more these kinds of articles and stuff because this is the sort of shit that I love, and I realized that I really missed making videos about this sort of thing. So I figured, why the hell not? So to those of you that have been subscribed for a long time, not really getting any content from me, hello, I hope this is what you wanted. To those of you that are new here, hello, I'm Toff, what's up? To those of you that hang out in my stream, what's up? The Bone Zone and everything. So I don't know how often I'm going to make these videos, probably like once a month, maybe once every 2 months, maybe even more than that. I have no idea, but let me know down below if you think that this is cool or some topics that you would like me to, you know, make a video about how I feel about it. If you want to follow me on other platforms, I stream pretty regularly over at ToffNebula on Twitch. I tweet pretty frequently over at ToffNebula on Twitter, and I try to post some pictures every now and then over on Instagram. So, you know, if you want all of those things, you can follow me in all those places. It's ToffNebula everywhere. So you know, it's pretty simple. So with that said, I don't have very much else to say. Thank you for watching. Let's get ready for new adventures. See y'all later.